You know, we Episcopalians stand out in a crowd sometimes. We do. You know, I was at a party last night, Christmas party, and we had eaten, and it was a wonderful meal and beautiful music, and we decided to do some Christmas carols. And so people started, suggesting Christmas carols. And one lady said, "Well, I'd really like to sing White Christmas." And then somebody very out loud said, "Wait a minute, that's not an Advent song." Well, I wonder who the Episcopalian was. It was really funny because this time of the year, this season, there are so many things happening. I've been visited by Christmas past, Christmas present, worried about Christmas future, and any other spirits out there that are trying to find me right now because they got something to say. Because I am filled this season with memories. And not just memories, but questions about my life. And how do I proceed? What does that have to do with Joseph? And by the way, thank you. We had a talk. As late as Wednesday, I didn't know what the heck I was going to talk about. But I know that these things come if you're patient, if you listen. That's one thing about prayer. It's not one way. You pray, and then you wait for a response from God. And sometimes that takes a while. But I thought about a lot of things. And then I started considering, what's it like to be a man? Being a man is, I've had a lot of good fun being a man in this world. I have. Enjoyed myself considerably. But you got different kinds of men. You got tough men. I had a good buddy of mine. He was actually my sponsor at a post-up program. His name was Dennis. Huge, ex-con, he was a really great guy. And he taught me a lot of things about what it meant to be a man. Because you see, when I was growing up, my father was an alcoholic, and I never had any doubt that he loved me. But sometimes the booze got in the way. Anybody relate to that? I'm sure you do. But in the midst of that dysfunction that I lived in, that's what we call it now. There were those moments of clarity when my dad would teach me values about what it meant to be a man. And fortunately and unfortunately, about 50% of those things had to do with kicking somebody's butt if they riled you. All my folks were from the South. So that state of mind, something I grew up with. But Dad taught me love. And in this Christmas season, you, men and women both, have a responsibility to teach our young how to be men and women. What does that mean? What did it mean for Joseph? He's engaged. And his soon-to-be wife reveals that she is pregnant. That did not make Joseph's day. Trust me, it was Because, you see, we men are pretty visceral about those things. And the first thing we want to do is go find somebody and beat the heck out of them, because it's certainly somebody else's fault, it's not ours. And in this situation, well, I'm really glad he had a dream, because he could have done a lot of damage for the dream show. So he had some clarity. But he was a righteous man. A righteous man. I've known some righteous men in my life. They were humans like any other human. But they were righteous. And how they lived their life. When my wife and I first got together, way back when, don't tell her I said it that way. Our relationship was developing, and we had occasional disagreements. Having a disagreement with my wife is an earth-shaking event. Yeah, but I've had to learn over the years that my first reaction is probably not the best one. And a lot of men are like that, you know. And I knew we were having a discussion. I thought it was a discussion. My wife was an officer in the Navy and a black belt. And why that's important is because we were talking, and then I looked and I saw that she was sitting in a strange way with her hands grasped together. And I asked her what was wrong, because I had no idea. She said, "You're frightening me." I'm kind of loud. You ever notice that? Any of you? I have an imposing character. And I haven't always, even now, I'm not happy with that all the time. There are times that I need it. There are times here with some of the folks here when you need a presence, either male or female, you need the presence of a strong personality. So that's kind of a balancing act. But what I learned from Cindy that day, and maybe the ghost of Christmas past this week, is that we always, all of us, have to pay attention to how we are in the world. We don't live here alone. We live here with people. And sometimes our reactions can be so extreme, even if we're not aware of it, they can be so extreme that they're hurtful. How many of you remember high school? Now, I said remember, not know you were there, but actually remember high school. And some of the things that went on. I was fortunate because I had a grandmother and a mother who began to teach me how to be the right kind of man. And I've since taught my own children, as best I could, how to be the right kind of people. And it's interesting to me that I'm saying that the way that I am, because to me it didn't really make any difference whether my children were a boy and a girl. The values that I believed it was necessary for them to live by applied equally to men and women, and there was no distinction. Because for me, it was teaching my children right and wrong. And now here we are, Christmas 2019. And our country is in turmoil. And I hear these reactions out there that are so extreme that it's really frightening. You know what's really frightening? Sometimes I still have those visceral reactions to things that I hear. And then I have to judge. Is this rational? And you know what I'm seeing? There's a lot of irrationality in the world right now. I believe the reason there's so much irrationality is there's evil present in the world. I don't care if you're a Democrat, Republican, Independent, doesn't matter to me. Doesn't matter to me where you come from, because everybody comes from someplace. But what matters is that we have to deal with the evil in the world. That means I have to recognize it. I have to be able to recognize it. But I love Christmas. I was trying to decide today whether it's Christmas that I love the most or Thanksgiving. It's Thanksgiving. I'm going to stick with that. That's my story. I love Christmas. I love the feeling of the season. I love how people are at Christmas. I wish we could be like that all year long. Amen.